Joe likes Scorsese, and Raanan is Jewy. It's Joe and Raanan talk movies.
All right, I'm feeding off the energy in here. We're rolling. Oh no!
No, you're pushing this all.
I need my fucking controller.
All right, well, maybe I should move. Yeah.
Microphone.
I feel like I'm in I'm like wrapped around this now. I feel like I'm in BDF.
Well, what do you want me to do?
Maybe
I don't
like
know. We don't have a studio. We haven't built a studio. I don't want to build a
this.
studio.
This is
I don't
like
want to.
this.
I don't want to submit to being a podcaster.
No.
I want to end my life.
Well, I also don't want to go anywhere. We
no,
live.
but people build shit in their house with the things and the business. We're assholes, and this is why we're failing. But
no, we're doing good, aren't we?
I don't know. Who cares?
But anyway, we're back. We're here. We missed last week, Joe. The movie's taken off. We couldn't.
Yeah.
Well,
I did a TV show. I did Charlemagne the God.
Charlemagne the God TV show.
By the way, you have the fan rotating, but it doesn't hit us. Can we adjust that just a little? Like
yeah.
This? I got it. I'm on it. Because I know you're not going to get up.
I mean, you're the one who set up the fan, didn't you?
No, it was like that when I got. I came down here and there was 3 people just in my home, just fucking hanging out. I had no idea. Nobody texted me to be like, "Hey, there's a whole group of people hanging out in your home."
Should we move
where
it?
My wife sleeps, where my children come and play with their toys.
Should we?
I think that's good.
We should move. Yeah, I guess we should.
Alex, we got to hit Alex.
We can't.
Yeah. Well, I'm worried about you, baby.
But there's a.
You're the only one here I like.
There's a period where it's getting no one. But I guess that's the compromise.
Moving the flow.
We're talking about society here. We could have selfishly had the fan directed us the whole time.
But we're good people.
Or we could have it directed. Sometimes miss it, be hot, but have the lesser person, the proletariat.
The salt of the earth.
The salt of the blue-collar guy get some of the fan, because we're socialists.
We're men of privilege, yeah. I am a socialist, except not really.
Yeah, no.
But I'm like a communist in my family and socialist with comedians.
How so?
Well, a comedian, I have people come over. I say, I'll buy lunch. You're making less. The feature, I'm always buying lunch. I'm buying flights for features.
Yeah, that's good.
I said, I'm making more money. Why don't I give you some money so that way we're both making a bigger piece of money?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But in life, I'm like, I'm not. Don't let me pay taxes.
Life, you're like,
I don't want to help
kill
strangers.
all the homeless people.
The homeless people aren't people. We got to shoot them and throw them in the river, build a bridge out of them or something.
Well, no, they'll. The issue with the homeless people. The issue with the homeless people is like we need to
Ron's going to sum up the issue with homeless people.
We need to So the idea is that you can't commit a crazy person. It's not homeless people, by the way. There's so many homeless people, and they're fine. They go to shelters. It's crazy people, and the problem with crazy people is they're like, we can only commit them once they're dangerous. And I'm like, but once they're dangerous, they've committed violence.
Right.
Like, you're like, only once they've killed someone on the street can we commit them.
Well, it's like a catch-22.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So I'm saying,
great book, Joseph Heineken.
No.
Heilman.
Heller.
Heller. Helen Keller.
But so, we should define what's scary. Like, I was at a lunch once with some friends, and this crazy person just went up to the table and stared at us for 20 minutes.
Yes.
Now, that's not violent.
No.
But I feel like he's close to killing people.
Yeah, it's exhibiting antagonistic behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
Unsettling,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sucks to be like, I'm unsettled. Can you put him in a mental institution? But it's become unsettling.
The question is, what's the best homeless person movie?
Bringing
what's
it to
the Fisher
movies.
King? Fisher King, isn't that something?
Oh yeah.
Isn't he homeless? Jeff Bridges,
Terry
Rob
Gilliam.
Williams?
Yeah. He's Robin Williams is like a crazy homeless person.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good one. You got Joe Pesci in Without On. Oh, well, I mean, I assume you. I mean, I know what your favorite one would be, and you don't even know it. I know for a fact what your favorite homeless movie is.
Homeless, not that Will Smith shit.
What?
Pursuit of Happiness?
No,
not
that. Not that.
All right, hit me with it because I can't think of it.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, yeah. I love that
homeless.
film. Yes, that's true. He is homeless. Yes. But it's only revealed that he's homeless at the end.
Well,
it's not about a homeless guy throughout.
But it's still the reveal. That's like saying Sixth Sense isn't about him being dead because it's only revealed at the end.
It's a good point. Yeah. Valid point. But I guess it's not what I was thinking about. But I do love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Well, that's the trick question.
Film.
Oh, by the way, how hilarious is this fact? Someone's telling me about this. I mean, it's dark, but it is very funny. So James Dean was about, this is a true fact, I'm not adding any joke to it. James Dean was about to star in a movie when he died in a horrific car accident. And you know what the movie's title was?
Death in a Car?
Somebody Up There Likes Me.
Oh.
He was literally about to be in a movie called Somebody Up There Likes Me when he died in a horrific car accident.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that funny?
It is funny, but it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. I really thought you
shit,
built
really?
it. Like, you were like, this is hilarious. This is going to be
Well, what do you want?
crazy.
I mean, it's not
I thought it was going to be like...
James Dean dies in a car crash.
Yeah, like car fire or whatever the fuck. Exploding car.
But it's funnier because it's like Somebody Up There Likes Me, and then it literally looks like God's trying to kill him.
Yeah, I guess so. I see it.
Did I hype it up too much?
You hyped it up too much. Did
fuck.
you know this? He was only alive for one movie release.
What?
2 of his movies came out posthumously.
So, Rebel Without a Cause.
I think he was dead for that.
What?
Yes, he was dead when Rebel Without a Cause came out.
So, what movie release was he for?
East of Eden.
Really?
Yes, and then
What
he
do
was
you say?
dead for Giant and Rebel Without a Cause.
So, he only did 3 movies?
He did 3 movies. Well, that's a well-known fact.
So,
yeah.
he filmed...
He made 3 movies.
But everyone said he... But
And he's just doing Brando in all 3 of them, by the
know.
way. It's egregious. He's like totally Brandoing.
That's crazy, but he was super big when he was alive, right?
That's what's fascinating. I think
He got bigger afterwards?
He became bigger afterwards, but I think he was big off of East of Eden. He was like a model guy. I think they just shot him and he became this cool guy.
so was he...
But he was dead when Rebel Without a Cause came out.
That's crazy.
I believe it. Lex, are you looking this up? Because this will be such a bummer if I'm wrong.
That's like if you filmed 2 other movies and then died before they came out, but you still had the one movie.
It's exactly like that.
I'm just trying to make it
I
personal.
know you said it like that's like this, and then you just said the exact thing we're
I'm
talking
not good
about.
at analogies. Whatever. You don't have to use analogies in comedy.
3
Wow.
movies. That I knew, but he was dead for 2 of them.
Total of 10. But
Total of 10?
total of 10, but those are probably going to be like where they recut things and they count that as a new movie.
What's this total of 10 thing?
He's probably talking about like a documentary or
Yeah.
they CGI'd him.
They're including
They CGI'd him for
Right.
some fucking James Dean, coming,
Oh, I
But
see,
so it's
yeah.
only 3 movies. So he was huge just off of, I guess.
But only one of them came out at the time. I think he made
crazy.
1 movie. He got nominated for an Oscar, East of Eden, which is a pretty good movie. It's fun.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 came out after.
Well, apparently I also read this, that Paul Newman was actually very insecure because Brando and James Dean were considered the best, and Paul Newman, they weren't like fucking with him. He was kind of like considered like a poor man's M, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
But when James Dean died and Somebody Up There Likes Me, Paul Newman got the role, and that shot him up to stardom because somebody up there liked Paul Newman.
Well,
They pulled the Rosemary's Baby and got him in the role.
Paul Newman is so much hotter than James Dean.
Yes.
But Brando at his best is hotter than Newman, maybe, but Newman has those eyes. I'm a Newman man, and Newman is as good as an actor can be.
Yeah. No, he's
Also, by the way,
amazing.
what's
And
this-
a great person.
A great person, too.
Literally, like 98% of Hollywood is psychopaths who
Right.
fuck children and eat Jewish babies. But like this, Paul Newman, all the salad dressing is just charity. That's a philanthropist.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
He's a philanthropist. He's a Paulanthropist.
Yeah,
What was I going to say? I had something. Oh, what's this documentary? I haven't watched it. It's on HBO called The Last Movie Stars. It's about him and his wife.
Oh, that's what I'm getting all this information from, but I haven't seen it.
But you're like, what are we talking about? Like Tom Hanks?
what do you mean? Oh,
They're like the last movie star. Like
so
makes
it's an
sense if
old
you did-
screenplay. See, this is what's happened. So,
Ah.
so we've done every remake possible. So now they're taking a screenplay that never got made and just so it's like Ethan Hawke having actors act out like scenes from like an old screenplay that never like. I
What?
believe that's the story.
I thought it was a documentary about.
It is
Paul
a
Newman.
documentary. It's both. It's that and they're
Ugh.
like acting out scenes.
I hate these combinations. Like it's a documentary, but there's. Shut
I know.
up.
I watch this. It's so stupid. I watch this. I'm all into Hitler. I'm a big Hitler guy.
Yeah,
and
love Hitler.
And by the way, who was it said? Someone the other day was like, "Man, oh yeah, I think you were around." Someone was like, "Man, you Jews." I was talking about how I loved Hitler. Oh, it's so fascinating. He was like, "Man, you Jews are all obsessed about Hitler," and it's like, well, I think he was obsessed with himself first.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, what I mean? But he started it. But
Yeah.
anyway, so there's a documentary on Netflix called Hitler's Circle of Evil that has all the like henchmen, but it's like real footage and reenactments. Like actors like dressed up like fucking Hitler and Himmler playing parts. It's just so corny.
Do you think that sometimes like a lot of these studios just have a bunch of Nazi outfits? And they're
Yes.
like, we have the outfits.
Yes.
Do you want to just write something?
Yes, of course.
Because they're like, all right, well, we're not using them.
I think 60% of movies are made based on just surplus in the costume store.
I think a lot of movies are made with title first. They're like objects in mirror closer than they appear.
Yeah.
Write
yeah.
a movie around it.
Yeah, I think a lot of times you have a title that's a pun, and then you go from there. It's like that scene in Ed Wood where he's like, do you have the movie idea? And he's like, do you have the script? He's like, nope, but I got the poster. And he takes out the poster. You know, you start with the funny, like, all you have to do to sell a movie is you think of a title that's a pun on weed
Right.
and, like, something else. You know what I mean?
Marijuana, marry me?
Marijuana, marry me, High Times, whatever the fuck.
Marijuana, get married?
And then you pitch it, and they go, that's great. Here's $2 billion, you know.
Where are you on Wag the Dog?
Nah, I don't know. I haven't seen it in years. I feel like it probably doesn't hold up.
I thought it was great then, and there's a joke that I always think about where they were. I might have just talked about this recently on a podcast, maybe even this podcast. My mind is mush. There's too many podcasts. I want to
know.
quit all of them. But
What?
in Wag the Dog, Dennis Leary, they pick, I think, like whatever country, Albania, to fight. To fake the war, and then Dennis Leary comes in. And he's like the marketing guy. He's like, "Can we change? I can't work with this. What about Italy? Because they have the boot. Give them the boot.
Yeah.
It's a very funny joke. I think I said this on this exact podcast. But anyways, it's a pretty good movie.
I remember the ending's kind of disturbing because they killed Dustin Hoffman.
Yes,
It's like
the Nazis.
Actually, it's kind of like Irishman if you think about it. Because at the end, it's De Niro's like, just stop. Just calm down. We don't have to
Right.
do this. And Dustin Hoffman's like, his ego is it's just like the Irishman. His ego's involved.
I always had a beef with the movie.
Yes.
Because his big thing is there's no Academy Award for producing. The producer does all
right.
this work, and I'm like, well, the best picture
Goes to
the
the producer. Yeah.
So I guess technically it's not an Academy Award for producing, best producing.
But you
it's
get
like
the-
you get the Oscar. Like if your film wins best picture, the director doesn't get an Academy Award.
Which someone
he directs
say
the film.
is unfair.
Yes, it's his film. It says a Martin Scorsese picture, and then his movie wins. And fucking, Bob Stevenson gets to win the Oscar.
Yeah, like Harvey Weinstein. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, it's not true, and the reality is not fair the other way.
Exactly. But anyways, Wag the Dog, pretty good. But we got to talk about the movies that we advertise that we're
I
watching.
know, but let me just bring up one other thing I saw. Have you seen? I rewatched Face Off.
Oh my God.
Do you remember Face Off?
Yeah, you probably love it because you're like a secret retard. That should be the title of this podcast, Secret Retard, because these movies we're about to talk about, I'm blown away by what you like. You act like this. I like Russian playwrights, and I know fucking James Baldwin plays and poems, and I listen to, whatever the fuck,
Funny to
classical.
see you try to guess what an intellectual.
Yeah, and then you're like, I went and saw Fast and Furious Moonshot, and I loved it. And you love Jurassic Park, and
Because
you
I'm a
love
man of the
fucking
people. I'm an
Ambulance.
intellectual and a man of the people. I contain multitudes.
No,
All
you're
women.
a fake intellectual. You're like dummy.
Well, hold on. Let me just say, I love Face Off when it came out. I watch it now.
That's amazing that you liked it when it came out. I hated it when it came out because I'm better than
I'm
you.
watching it now. It does have a couple holes in it. There's a couple parts that aren't believable.
Ain't it cool?
But yeah, that's the thing that is. I was like, when I was a kid watching that, I was like, oh, they're so cool and over the top and awesome. But now you're watching like it's that annoying '90s California thing where it's like, bro, let's do some terrorism. It's awesome.
Right.
But here's the problem with Face Off. I finally figured it out.
There's only one problem with Face Off.
25 years later, I figured out, and this is, I think, a groundbreaking point about Face Off. It's a movie that
Yep.
should have been set in the future, but inexplicably isn't. Because they do the face swap, which is...
You are an intellectual.
Well, they do the face swap, which is an insane technological advancement that they just try to slip in there.
Sure.
And in reality, they would get to many other technological advancements before they got to face swapping. They would have been able to clone dinosaurs.
An iPhone.
Yeah, iPhone. So, if it was set in the future, it would be like, all right, that makes sense. They can do it. So, honestly,
That's a great point.
They would have technologically got into literally creating a prosthetic face that looks exactly like it before they got to cutting off a face and somehow putting it So, but if it was set in the future, it wouldn't be that ridiculous. And I don't know if you remember, they go to jail and they have the magnetic like things that hold their legs together. That also seems like in the future. I think it was originally written in the future, and the director just didn't get. There was a miscommunication,
Or it's too big of a budget.
or it's too big of a budget, so they just filmed in the present. But if it was in the future, no holes.
Because it's hard, because I always think this as someone who wants to be an independent filmmaker, is you have to write movies in the present just for ease of shooting.
Yes.
You can't be like, wow, I wrote a 13th century drama.
But then it just gets this weird part where they all have fucking flip phones, and one guy's like, we're doing a new experiment where we can switch people's faces. You want to be part of it? And it's just like, what?
Yeah.
How did they get to that first?
It's silly, but I don't know. People love that movie. Maybe if I rewatched it, I'd be like, this is great. Or I'd like to watch it and make fun of it.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I'll just say one other thing. There is a hilarious thing in it where they try to show how uptight John Travolta is when he's like the good guy. And when they try to capture Casper Troy in the beginning, and he shoots a bunch of them, and they finally arrest him. And to show that John Travolta's uptight, in the next scene, everyone in the police station's clapping, like we finally got Nicolas Cage. And he's like, no, quit clapping. We lost this guy, this guy, this guy. And he lists a bunch of people. This is not a day of triumph. And that's supposed to show how uptight he is. But in reality, he's correct. Like literally 8 of their friends were murdered in the scene before. But in an action movie, you can't care about people dying.
Right.
Like in action movies, literally, like you'll end action movies, people will be walking down the steps where like bodies are piled and they're like, hey, we did it. You know what I mean? So him caring about it made him uptight in that world when really he's the one person who wouldn't be a sociopath.
That's another great point, but you could have texted me and said, let's talk about Face Off. Wait, we're 30 minutes in. You're talking about Face Off and Wag the Dog.
All right, let's
which
talk.
I brought up Wag the Dog,
Yeah,
to be
wait,
fair.
wait.
But mine was a quick point. You're
right.
like going into the depths of Face Off here.
All right, so we're talking-
And we have 2 movies to talk
All right, we're
about.
talking today-
And one of them, by the way, you keep doing this thing. You're a bully. You're a secret
What?
bully. You're like, you choose one week, I choose the next week, whatever. Every time I choose one, you shoot it down. And you tried to shoot this down. I had to just blatantly ignore the text because I'm like, hey, I'm dying to talk
can
about
tell
this.
you're annoyed.
I'm dying to talk about this film. I love this film. I think you'll love the film. You should watch it. We'll talk about it. And then 4 days later, after you tell me you've watched it and taken notes, you're like, let's not talk about it. Nobody cares
I
about
love
your
the
idea.
film. I thought it
and
was
then
great.
instead, you want to replace it with a movie that's been out for 3 hours.
I'm just
'Cause
trying
you
to
have
not-
a girlfriend, so you went out on a date or whatever and saw one movie.
I'm just trying to not have our viewers actually watch the thing because when they see we're doing whatever, Alan Alda's 4 Seasons or whatever fucking movie from the 70s.
But your replacement's a movie that's been out for 10 minutes. Literally,
But people
nobody's
seen
seen your
Ambulance.
movie.
Well,
No, not Ambulance. You talking about None or
Oh,
No.
Nope?
Yeah, Nope.
yeah,
And which I had to write back, Nope.
Joe likes Scorsese, and Raanan is Jewy. It's Joe and Raanan talk movies.